Dr. Lisa Grant stared out the window of the research ship Horizon at the strange blue planet below. She had been studying alien life for 12 years, but this world looked different from anything she had seen before. The planet spun slowly in, the darkness of space, covered in thick clouds that glowed with an odd light. "What do you think, Doc?" Captain Jake Morrison asked as he walked up behind her. He was a tall man with kind eyes and graying hair. Jake had been flying ships between the stars for 20 years and had seen many strange things. Lisa pressed her face closer to the glass. "The energy readings are off the charts, Jake. Something down there is producing massive amounts of power. But our scans show no cities, no technology, nothing that should create this kind of energy." Amy Rogers, their pilot, looked up from her control panel. She was young and quick with computers, and her fingers never stopped moving across the buttons and screens. "The Galactic Federation database says this system is empty. No intelligent life, no dangerous animals, nothing worth noting." Carlos Martinez, their engineer, shook his head as he checked his instruments. "These readings say otherwise. Whatever is down there, it's big and it's active." The Horizon was not a military ship. It was built for science, with labs full of equipment. To study plants and animals from other worlds, Lisa and her team had come to the Kepler 442 system to look at some new kinds of space algae that grew near the system's twin suns. It was supposed to be a simple, safe mission. "Federation Command told us to stay away from that planet," Amy said, worry in her voice. "They said the whole system was off limits for some reason." Jake looked at the readings on Carlos's screen. The numbers kept climbing higher and higher. "Look at those energy levels." "Yes. If there's some kind of new technology down there, we need to know about it." "Think about what it could mean for human science." Lisa felt her heart beating faster. She had become a scientist because she wanted to discover new things, to learn about life in the galaxy. The safe mission studying algae had been boring her for weeks. This mysterious planet offered the kind of discovery she had always dreamed about. "The Federation keeps too many secrets," Jake continued. "They tell us to explore and learn, but then they mark half the galaxy as forbidden. How are we supposed to advance human knowledge if we can't investigate anything interesting?" Carlos nodded in agreement. "My instruments show the energy is coming from the dark side of the planet. Whatever it is, it's been hidden from the suns for millions of years." Amy looked nervous. "Guys, there's a reason some places are marked as off limits. Maybe we should just report what we've found and let the military handle it." But Jake had already made up his mind. Lisa could see it in his eyes. He was the kind of man who could not walk away from a mystery. "We're scientists. Our job is to investigate and learn. We'll do a quick scan of the energy source and then head home with data that could change everything." Lisa knew they should probably call for permission first, but the excitement was too strong. One quick look, she agreed. "We stay in orbit, run some scans, and leave. No landing, no direct contact with whatever is down there." Amy sighed, but began preparing the ship for a closer approach. "Fine, but if something goes wrong, I'm blaming all of you." The Horizon moved slowly toward the dark side of the planet. As they got closer, the energy readings became even stronger. Lisa watched her screens fill with data unlike anything she had ever seen. The energy patterns were complex and organized, almost like they had been designed by an intelligent mind. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Look at these patterns. They're not random. Something is controlling this energy, directing it." Carlos frowned at his instruments. "Doc, I'm seeing something else. There are structures down there. It's big ones. They're hidden under the clouds, but they're definitely artificial." Jake moved the ship closer to get a better look. "Any signs of life?" "That's just it," Lisa said, excitement growing in her voice. "The energy signatures suggest biological activity, but not like any life form in our databases. Whatever lives down there, it's completely unknown to galactic science." Suddenly, Amy's control panel began flashing red warnings. "Guys, we have a problem. Something just activated on the planet's surface. Multiple somethings. They're moving fast and heading straight for us." Jake tried to turn the ship away, but it was too late. Dark shapes rose from the planet's surface like living shadows. They moved through space without ships or technology, somehow surviving in the vacuum between the stars? As they got closer, Lisa could see that they were not machines. They were creatures, huge dark creatures with bodies that seemed to absorb light itself. Each one was at least 12 feet long, with multiple arms and rows of teeth that glowed in the darkness. Their skin looked like black metal, but it moved and flowed like liquid. "What are those things?" Amy screamed as the creatures surrounded their ship. Lisa checked every database she had, but found nothing. "I don't know. They're not in any of our records. No species like this has ever been reported." Creatures moved closer to the ship, and suddenly, the horizon's systems began failing. Lights went out, engines stopped working, and the artificial gravity flickered on and off. "They're doing something to our ship," Carlos shouted as sparks flew from his control panel. "Some kind of energy drain. All our systems are shutting down." Jake tried desperately to restart the engines, but nothing worked. The ship was dead in space, helpless against the strange creatures surrounding them. Then the impossible happened. The creatures began passing through the walls of the ship as if the metal were not there. They moved like ghosts, peering inside the corridors and rooms without breaking anything or opening doors. Lisa heard Carlos scream from the engine room, then silence. Amy grabbed her weapon and ran toward the sound, but she never made it. Struck her from behind, and she fell to the floor. Unconscious, but still breathing, Jake pulled Lisa toward the medical bay, the most secure room on the ship. "We need to hide and figure out what these things want." As they ran through the corridors, Lisa caught glimpses of the creatures. Up close, they were even more terrifying. Their multiple eyes glowed with intelligence, and their movements were precise and purposeful.
Ow.
These were not mindless monsters. They were hunters, and they were very, very smart. The medical bay door sealed behind them, but Lisa knew it would not keep the creatures out for long. They could pass through walls. A locked door meant nothing. "Jake," she whispered, "I think we just found out why this system is forbidden." Lisa and Jake sat in the medical bay listening to the sounds of the creatures moving through their ship. The noises were not random. They were careful and organized, like the creatures were searching for something specific. "They killed Carlos," Jake whispered, his hands shaking as he held his weapon. "These things are monsters. Pure killers." Lisa watched the security screens that still worked. The creatures moved through the ship in patterns that seemed familiar to her. She had studied predator behavior for years, and something about their movements reminded her of hunting rituals from Earth. "Wait," she said quietly. "Look at how they move. They're not just killing randomly. They're following some kind of pattern." On the screen, she could see 3 of the dark creatures moving through the main corridor. They stopped at each door, examined it carefully, then moved on. They were not breaking things or destroying equipment unless they had to. "What are you talking about?" Jake asked. "They killed Carlos and hurt Amy. They're trying to kill us too." Lisa pulled up her research files on her portable computer. "But look at this. Every predator species has rules about how they hunt. Lions follow certain patterns. Sharks have specific behaviors. Even the most dangerous animals on Earth follow rules." She showed Jake videos of various Earth predators hunting. "See how they test their prey first? How they follow certain steps? Before they attack, these creatures are doing the same thing." Jake looked at the screen where one of the creatures had stopped outside the medical bay door. It was not trying to break in. It was just standing there as if waiting for something. "If they can walk through walls," Jake said, "why haven't they just come in here and killed us?" Lisa thought about this. Maybe they're not trying to kill us. Maybe they're testing us. Testing us for what? I don't know yet. Think about it. They disabled our ship without destroying it. They hurt Amy but didn't kill her. They could have walked through these walls and finished us by now, but they haven't. Lisa began typing on her computer, pulling up every file she had about unknown species and first contact protocols. "Jake, what if these creatures aren't just random killers? What if they're intelligent and they're trying to communicate with us by killing Carlos, by testing our reactions? Some species use violence as a form of communication. They might be trying to see how we respond to pressure." Jake stared at her like she had lost her mind. "Lisa, these things are nightmares. They're like something from the worst horror stories humans have ever told." But that's exactly why we need to think about this differently, Lisa said. Fear makes us react without thinking, but I'm a scientist. My job is to observe and understand even when I'm scared. She pulled up more files on her computer. Look at this. According to Galactic records, there have been 17 civilizations that have disappeared near the edge of known space. No survivors, no messages, no trace of what happened to them. What does that have to do with us? What if these creatures were responsible? What if they've been testing other species, and those 17 civilizations failed their tests? Looked at the security screen again. The creature outside their door had not moved, seemed to be waiting patiently. Okay, he said slowly. Let's say you're right. Let's say these things are testing us. What kind of test? Lisa thought carefully. In human history, many warrior cultures had tests of courage and honor. Maybe these creatures are doing something similar. Maybe they're trying to see if we're worthy of something. Worthy of what? I don't know. But Jake, what if instead of hiding in here and waiting to die, we try to communicate with them? What if we try to understand what they want? Jake looked at his weapon, then at the door. That's crazy, Lisa. Absolutely crazy. Maybe, but hiding in here and hoping they go away is also crazy. At least my way, we're trying to learn something. Lisa stood up and walked to the door. She could see the creature on the other side through the security camera. It was huge and terrifying, but was also standing very still, like it was waiting for something. What are you doing? Jake asked. I'm going to try something that's never been done before. I'm going to try to communicate with them. Lisa placed her hand on the door controls. She could open the door and face the creature directly, or she could stay hidden and wait for whatever was going to happen next. Lisa, don't do this. You should try to find another way off the ship or call for help or something. Jake, our communications are down. Our engines are dead and there's nowhere to run. These creatures can walk through walls and fly through. Space without ships. Running won't help us. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought about everything she had learned about animal behavior, about communication, about the importance of showing respect to dangerous creatures. I think they're waiting for us to make a choice. We can either face them with courage, or we can hide in fear. I think the choice we make will determine whether we live or die. Jake stood up and moved beside her. If you're going to do this crazy thing, I'm not letting you do it alone. Lisa smiled at him. Thank you, Jake. But I need you to stay here and watch Amy. If something happens to me, you need to take care of her and try to find another way to survive. What exactly are you planning to do? Lisa looked at the creature on the screen. Had not moved in over an hour? I'm going to open this door and try to talk to it, not with words, but with actions. I'm going to show it that humans are not just another species that runs and hides. When faced with something we don't understand, and if it kills you, then at least we'll know what we're dealing with. But Jake, I have a feeling that if I can show this creature respect instead of fear, it might respond differently than it has to other species. Lisa's hand moved toward the door controls. Whatever was about to happen would change everything for humanity. She could feel it in her bones. Here goes nothing, she whispered, and pressed the button to open the door. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Lisa found herself face to face with the most terrifying creature she had ever seen. Up close, it was even larger than she had thought. Its dark skin seemed to absorb all the light around it, and its multiple eyes glowed like burning coals in the darkness. The creature did not attack. It stood perfectly still, watching her with those burning eyes. Lisa could feel her heart pounding so hard she thought it might break her ribs, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Hello," she said quietly, even though she knew the creature probably could not understand human words. "I'm Lisa. I'm a scientist. I study life from different worlds." The creature tilted its massive head slightly, like it was listening. Its eyes never left her face. Lisa took a small step forward. Behind her, she could hear Jake holding his breath. "I know you're intelligent," she continued. "I can see it in your eyes. You're not just a monster. You're something much more." The creature made a sound, low and deep, like distant thunder, that was not threatening. It sounded almost like it was thinking. Lisa remembered something from her studies of animal behavior. When meeting a dangerous animal, you should never show fear, but you should also show respect. She slowly bowed her head, the way humans did. When showing respect to someone important, the creature's eyes seemed to brighten. It made the same deep sound again, but this time it sounded different, almost like it was pleased. You understand, don't you? Lisa said. You understand that I'm trying to communicate with you? The creature moved, but not to attack. It stepped aside and gestured down the corridor with one of its long arms. The gesture was clear. It wanted her to follow. Lisa looked back at Jake. I think it wants to show me something. Lisa, don't go with that thing. It's too dangerous. Jake. This is working. It's responding to me. This might be our only chance to understand what's happening. Lisa stepped out of the medical bay and into the corridor. The creature moved ahead of her, walking slowly so she could keep up. Its movements were graceful despite its size, like a dancer who knew exactly where every part of its body was at. All times they walked through the ship, past doors and rooms, Lisa knew well. But everything looked different now. The creature had done something to the ship's systems, and strange symbols were glowing on the walls. The symbols pulsed with soft light, creating patterns that seemed to have meaning. The creature stopped at the main cargo bay and gestured for Lisa to enter. Inside, she gasped at what she saw. The entire room had been transformed. The walls were covered with the glowing symbols. And in the center of the room was something that looked like a three-dimensional puzzle made of light. The creature pointed at the puzzle and at Lisa. The message was clear. It wanted her to solve. Lisa walked closer to the puzzle. It was beautiful and complex, with pieces that moved and changed color as she watched. Some parts were mathematical equations, others were pictures of stars and planets, and still others showed what looked like different alien species. This is a test, isn't it? She asked the creature. You're testing to see if I'm smart enough to understand this? The creature made its deep sound again. Lisa took that as a yes. She studied the puzzle carefully. It was not just about being smart. The different pieces seemed to represent different ideas about how civilizations should behave. Some pieces showed war and destruction. Others showed cooperation and peace. Lisa began to understand. This was not just a test of intelligence. It was a test of values. The creature wanted to know what kind of people humans were. She began moving the pieces of the puzzle. When she chose pieces that showed cooperation and understanding between different species, those pieces glowed brighter. When she accidentally selected pieces that showed violence or selfishness, they grew dim. You're testing our character, Lisa said as she worked. Want to know if humans are the kind of species that can be trusted? The creature watched her work, its eyes following every move she made. Lisa felt like she was taking an exam that would determine the future of all humanity. She thought about human history as she solved the puzzle. Humans had done terrible things to each other and to their planet, but they had also done beautiful things. They had created art and music, they had explored space, they had learned to work together despite their differences. The puzzle was almost complete when Lisa realized what the final piece should be. In the center were all the other pieces connected. She needed to place something that represented the most important human quality. She looked at all her choices. There were pieces representing strength, intelligence, technology, and power. But Lisa chose a different piece. She chose the one that showed one person helping another person in need. The moment she placed the piece, the entire puzzle exploded into brilliant light. The creature made a sound that was almost like singing, and Lisa felt a warm feeling in her mind, like someone was trying to speak to her without words. Images flashed in her head. She saw the creature's species, not as monsters, but as guardians who had protected the galaxy for millions of years. She saw other civilizations who had failed this test, who had chosen power over compassion, violence over understanding, and she saw why her species was being tested. Humans were at a crossroads. They could become like the failed civilizations, or they could become something better. Something worthy of joining the Guardians. The creature stepped closer to Lisa. This time she was not afraid. She could feel its thoughts in her mind, ancient and wise and tired. It had been testing species for so long, hoping to find one that could pass. Most had failed immediately. Few had made it this far, but none had chosen compassion over power. "We're not perfect," Lisa said to the creature. "Humans make mistakes. We sometimes fight and hurt each other. We also love and help and protect each other. We're learning to be better." The creature nodded its massive head. Lisa felt a wave of something like approval wash over her mind, but the test was not over yet. The creature showed her another image in her thoughts. There was one more challenge, and this one would be the hardest of all. The creature touched Lisa's forehead with one of its long fingers. The moment it made contact, her mind exploded with images and feelings that were not her own. She saw the history of the galaxy through the creature's ancient eyes. Millions of years ago, these beings had been different. They had been protectors, guardians who helped young civilizations learn and grow. They had been teachers and friends to countless species across the stars, but time had changed them. Lisa saw civilization after civilization rise to power, only to become selfish and destructive. She watched as species after species used their knowledge to build weapons instead of healing machines, to conquer instead of explore, to destroy instead of create. The creatures had tried to guide these civilizations, but it never worked. Every time they shared their knowledge and power, it was used for war and conquest. Eventually, the Guardians had become tired and angry. They had decided that most species were not worthy of advanced knowledge, so they became judges instead of teachers. They created tests to find the rare civilizations that might be different. Most species failed quickly. A few made it further, but in the end, they all chose power over wisdom, fear over love. The creature pulled its finger away from Lisa's forehead. She staggered backward, her mind reeling from everything she had seen. The creature's thoughts were still in her head, speaking without words. "Out. You have done well, human Lisa," the voice in her mind said. "You understand that true strength comes from helping others, not from destroying them. But there is one more test. It's the most important test of all." Lisa looked around the cargo bay. The glowing symbols on the walls had changed, showing new pictures and patterns. "What kind of test?" she asked. "A choice," the voice replied. "The same choice we give to every species that makes it this far." Images appeared in Lisa's mind. She saw Jake and Amy both unconscious, but alive in the medical bay. She saw the dead body of Carlos in the engine room. And she saw her home planet, Earth, with its billions of human beings living their lives, unaware of what was happening in this distant star system. "You have 3 choices, Lisa Grant," the creature's voice continued. "First, you can choose to save only yourself. We will take you with us, teach you the secrets of the galaxy, make you more powerful than any human has ever been. But your friends will die, and your species will never learn what you have discovered here." Lisa felt sick at the thought. "No, I would never abandon my friends or my people. Second, you can choose to save your friends and return to your people. We will let you go and never contact humanity again. Your species will continue as it is, knowing nothing of us, or of the greater challenges that await in the galaxy." Lisa thought about this option. It would save lives, but it would also mean that humanity would miss this chance to grow and learn. "And the third choice?" she asked. "The third choice is the one no other species has ever made. You can choose to sacrifice your own safety for the chance to help your entire species grow. You would stay here and work with us to prepare humanity for greater responsibilities. But there would be great danger. Many of your people would not understand. Some would fear you. Others would try to use what you learned for selfish purposes, and you might fail, just as all the others have failed." Lisa looked at the creature, trying to understand what it was really asking her to do. "You want me to become a bridge between humans and your people?"
"Yes, but understand, Lisa Grant, this is not just about your species anymore. We are old and
"Tired. We have been guardians for so long that we have forgotten how to hope. If humanity fails this test, we will withdraw from the galaxy forever. We will let the younger species destroy themselves, and we will retreat to the dark spaces between the stars." The weight of the choice pressed down on Lisa like a mountain. She was not just deciding for herself or even for her crew. She was deciding for all of humanity and possibly for the future of the entire galaxy. How do I know humans won't disappoint you like the others did? Lisa asked. You do not know? That is what makes this a test of faith as well as wisdom? Lisa thought about everything she knew about her own species. Humans could be cruel and selfish. They fought wars over resources and beliefs. They sometimes chose fear over understanding. But they were also capable of incredible kindness and sacrifice. They created beautiful art and music. They risked their lives to save strangers. They never stopped exploring and learning. If I choose the third option, what happens to Jake and Amy? They will be returned to your people safely. They will carry the message that humanity is being given a great opportunity. But they will not be given the knowledge you would receive. That burden would be yours alone. Lisa closed her eyes and thought about her life. She had always wanted to make a difference, to discover something that would help humanity understand their place in the universe. This was her chance, but it would cost her everything she had known before. There is something else you should know, the creature's voice continued. We are not the only guardians in the galaxy. There are others watching other regions of space. If humanity proves worthy, you would not just be joining us. You would be joining a council of species that have passed these tests. Species that work together to guide and protect younger civilizations. Lisa opened her eyes and looked at the creature. Its burning eyes seemed less frightening now. She could see the wisdom and sadness in them, but also something that might have been hope. And if I choose to try and humanity fails, then both our species will face the consequences together. But Lisa Grant, in all our long history, no individual has ever asked that question. Every other being we have tested has been concerned only with their own survival, or the survival of their species. You are the first to worry about what failure would mean for us as well. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought about Jake and his desire to explore and learn. She thought about Amy's quick mind and brave heart. She thought about Carlos, who had died because he was curious about the unknown. She thought about all the humans back on Earth who dreamed of the stars. I've made my choice, she said. I choose the third option, Lisa said firmly. But I want to change the rules. The creature's eyes blazed brighter. No species has ever asked to change our tests. Lisa stepped closer to the massive being. That's exactly the problem. You've been doing the same thing for millions of years, and it's not working. You keep testing species by putting them in danger and forcing them to choose between bad options. But maybe there's a better way. The creature was silent. For a long moment, Lisa could feel its ancient mind considering her words. Explain, it said finally. You've become isolated, Lisa said. You test species by scaring them and making them choose under pressure. But fear makes people make bad choices. What if instead of testing us through fear, you tried working with us? Other species have said similar things. They asked for mercy, for second chances. They all failed in the end. Lisa shook her head. I'm not asking for mercy. I'm asking you to try something completely different. What if, instead of testing humanity in secret, you made contact openly? What if you offered to work with us to solve problems together? The creature tilted its massive head. That is not how we do things. But maybe that's why it's not working, Lisa said. You've been judges for so long that you've forgotten how to be teachers. But what humanity needs is not judgment. Need guidance. We need mentors who can help us learn to be better. Lisa could feel the creature's confusion. This was not how any test had ever gone before. Think about it, she continued. When you test species by threatening them, you only see how they react to fear and danger. But that's not the most important thing about them. The most important thing is how they behave when they're safe and happy and working together. The creature made its deep rumbling sound. You propose that we should trust your species before we know if they are worthy of trust. I propose that. Trust has to start somewhere, Lisa said. And maybe the reason so many species have failed your tests is because you never gave them a chance to succeed. Lisa thought about everything she had learned about the creature's history. She said that you used to be teachers and protectors. You helped young civilizations learn and grow. What if you went back to doing that, but but with better safeguards. Kind of safeguards? Work with multiple species at once. Have them check each other's behavior. If one species starts to become dangerous, the others can help stop them. Don't put all your trust in one civilization. Build a community. The creature was quiet for several minutes. Lisa could feel it communicating with others of its kind, sharing her ideas and discussing them in ways beyond human understanding. Finally, it spoke again. Your proposal is interesting, Lisa Grant, but it would require us to risk everything we have learned in millions of years of experience. Sometimes, Lisa said, you have to take risks to get better results. Humanity learned that lesson the hard way. We had to learn to trust each other despite our differences. Maybe it's time for you to learn the same lesson. The creature looked at her with something that might have been respect. You are asking us to have faith in your species. I'm asking you to have faith in the idea that working together is better than working alone. I'm asking you to give humanity a chance to prove that we can be partners, not just subjects in a test. More time passed as the creature communicated. With its kind, Lisa waited, knowing that the future of humanity hung on whatever decision they reached. We have decided, the creature said finally. We will try your approach, but there will be conditions. What conditions? That you will return. To your people, with your friends, you will tell them about us, but gradually. You will help prepare humanity for contact with other advanced species. And most importantly, you will help us learn how to be teachers again instead of judges. Lisa felt a wave of relief and excitement. You're really going to do this? We are. Tired of being alone, Lisa Grant? We are tired of destroying civilizations instead of helping them grow. If your species can help us remember how to hope again, then perhaps together we can build something better than anything we have created before. The creature touched her forehead again, but this time the contact was gentle, instead of overwhelming. Her with images, it shared knowledge slowly and carefully. Lisa learned about technologies that could heal diseases, about ways to travel between stars safely, about methods of communication that could connect minds across vast distances. This is just the beginning, the creature said. There is much more to learn, but it will take time. Years, perhaps decades. What about the other guardian species you mentioned? They are watching this conversation with great interest. If this new approach works with humanity, they may try it with other young civilizations as well. You may be starting something that will change the entire galaxy. Lisa felt the weight of responsibility, but also excitement about the possibilities. Ahead, what do we call you? I can't keep thinking of you as the creature. The being made a sound that was almost like laughter. We are the keepers of the deep void, but you may call us the keepers. And what happens now? Now you return to your people. Your friends, Jake and Amy, will be healed and will remember everything that happened here. They will help you convince your leaders that this opportunity is real. You'll make contact with your governments within 1 of your years. Lisa looked around the cargo bay one last time. Will I see you again? Many times, Lisa Grant. You have become the first human ambassador. To the Keepers. You will help your people prepare for a larger role in galactic civilization. As the Keeper prepared to leave, Lisa realized that something fundamental had changed. The most feared predators in the galaxy had not just shown respect to a human. They had shown trust, and in return, humanity had been given a chance to prove that they could be worthy of that trust. The age of humanity. Hiding in the small corner of the galaxy was over. The age of humanity as galactic citizens was about to begin. And it all started with one person choosing to offer understanding instead of fear. Partnership instead of submission. Lisa smiled as she prepared to return to Jake and Amy. She had a lot of work ahead of her, but for the first time in her life, she felt like she was exactly where she belonged.